Welcome back to our Commander Spotlight series where we talk about all the awesome commanders from sets of the past. If you've missed previous episodes, here are some links for you. We've talked about Lorwyn, Odyssey, and then spent 20 years going through the Billion Legends and Time Spiral. In the next two episodes, we're shining a light on both Conflux and Alara Reborn, two sets home to some very popular legendary creatures. If you enjoy our Commander Spotlight series, be sure to hit that like button, helps out a lot. Rakka Mar is 2 of anything and 2 red for a 2/2 legendary creature human shaman with haste. You can also pay 1 red and tap her to put a 3/1 elemental token with haste onto the battlefield. At first glance, Rakka might not seem like she brings a whole lot to the table, and you'd be right. She really doesn't. Don't get me wrong, the ability to create hasty 3/1s on a stick isn't bad at all, but the lack of complexity or any type of game-changing mechanic forces her to the backseat in most strategies. If you do want her as your commander, though, there is only one deck where she functions at least somewhat well. Mono Red Elemental / Burn. We're talking balls to the wall insanity. You have your classic elemental buffer card in Incandescent Soulstoke, but then things get off the rails with Rite of the Raging Storm, Hostility, Paragon of Fierce Defiance, and a lot more. Think about it this way. If you sit down to play a game of Commander and your opponent is playing Rakka Mar, there's a 90% chance that they're about to bash their forehead against the table so hard they might give themselves a concussion. We're talking about a deck that is built on Tempt with Vengeance, Ogre Battle Driver, Hell Rider, and Mana Echoes, solely to be used with elementals to cast more crazy crap. Rakka Mar is a commander for crazy people, enough said. Now, if Rakka Mar isn't leading the army, she's great. Her main inclusion is an Omnath Locus of Rage because that trigger on Omnath with her 3/1 elementals is just savage beyond belief, but she also has a place in Perforos and Kresh. I wouldn't call Rakka popular by any means, but those who play her love her to death. Can't say she isn't at least fun. There is that, a crazy shaman. Hazid, Profiteer is 1 of anything, 1 white and 1 blue for a 2/2 legendary creature human rogue. You can pay 1 white and 1 blue and tap him to put a bribery counter on target creature you don't control. Its controller draws a card. Creatures with bribery counters on them can't attack or block. In case you couldn't already tell, Hazid is a classic Azorius prison commander. Where you find Hazid, you often find the likes of Propaganda, Norn's Annex, Sphere of Safety, and Ghostly Prison. Guafa only exists to stop other players from doing anything on the ground, effectively halting the game to a complete stop with the sole goal to win with Azur's Elecutors. I mean, for goodness sakes, we're talking about a commander who routinely runs Aurification, Wall of Denial, Silent Arbiter, and Dissipation Field. If you play Hazid, your only goal is to get all the other players to stop playing by any means necessary, and that includes boredom. Good on you, sir. Of course, if you're not running Hazid as the commander himself, you can imagine the types he runs with. Angus Mackenzie, the best commander ever, of course, but he's also been known to cavort with Zedru, Grand Arbiter Augustin, and the Happy Hippo itself. If there were more analysis for me to do, I'd do it, but it's pretty clear what's going on here. I should mention, Hazid also has a reprint and a new convenient home in Kineos and Tyro, so match made in heaven. Enjoy trying to win that game. Sen Triplets is 2 of anything, 1 white, 1 blue, and 1 black for a 3/3 legendary artifact creature human wizard. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose target opponent. This turn, that player can't play spells or activated abilities and plays with their hand revealed. You can play cards from that player's hand this turn. In case you weren't already aware, Sen Triplets is one of the most popular commanders in the entire format, and one of the 5 most popular Esper commanders in all of Magic. Their ability to render an opponent helpless on each upkeep is both brutal and hilariously fun, being able to play cards from their hand while they do nothing. When you're building Sen Triplets, most players tend to gravitate towards a single idea: artifact-based control. Sen Triplets isn't especially fast, so you need ways to hold out until you get your shenanigans online. The deck runs your common control elements, like Counterspell, Swords to Plowshares, Path to Exile, and Mortify. Anything to keep you alive until you get the triplets out. Besides the Esper control element, the rest of your deck is an artifact deck. You have a bunch of Signets for ramping, Phyrexian Metamorph is your robot clone of choice, and Ethereum Sculptor helps you get a presence faster. That's when things get ugly. These decks run Magister Sphinx, Memnarch, Wormcoil Engine, and Sphinx Sovereign. All of these insane artifacts then backed up by protection spells like Padim and Darksteel Forge. Sen Triplets is a powerful commander that helms a strong artifact-based control strategy. If that's what you enjoy, Sen Triplets is perfect for you. Jenara, Asura of War is 1 green, 1 white, and 1 blue for a 3/3 legendary creature angel with flying. You can pay 2 mana and put a +1/+1 counter on her. When most players think about Commander, they think of 4-person multiplayer games, right? Well, Dual Commander, 1 versus 1 Commander, is actually quite popular, and Jenara is one of the more competitive generals. What essentially boils down to a 100-card singleton legacy deck, Jenara fights with the likes of Kitchen Finks, Knight of the Reliquary, Stoneforge Mystic, and Tarmogoyf, is then backed up by Force of Will, Council's Judgment, Mystic Confluence, and Stifle. Seriously, Jenara's most popular in this kind of a commander game. It really is just singleton legacy. This same deck runs Green Sun Zenith, Umezawa's Jite, Jace the Mind Sculptor, and Miscalculation. Seriously, it's just a low-to-the-ground, high creature quality deck. This is where Jenara is meant to be. Now, if you want to play her in multiplayer Commander, though, she really isn't popular anywhere. Except for maybe a Troxa now? I don't know, I'm not a fan. Uril the Miststalker is 2 of anything, 1 red, 1 green, and 1 white for a 5/5 legendary creature beast. It can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control, so in other words, it has hexproof. It also gets +2/+2 for each aura attached to it. Uril is, without a doubt, one of, if not the most popular Voltron commander in Magic. Voltron means that the goal of the strategy is to get Uril onto the battlefield, then put as many attachments on him as possible until he's just impossible to remove. I mean, we're talking everything. These enchantments range from simple things like Rancor, Armadillo Cloak, Unflinching Courage, and Ethereal Armor, to more complex equipment like Bear Umbra, Flicker Form so it never really dies, Snake Umbra so it never really dies, and Hyena Umbra so it never really dies. Do you see what's created here? With all these pieces combined, Voltron. Welcome to Magic naming convention. Anyways, we're not even done. This strategy is so popular, there are cards specifically designed for it. For instance, Core Spirit Dancer draws you cards for casting auras, Eidolon of Countless Battles buffs based on the auras you have, Daybreak Coronet piggybacks off your auras, and Umbra Mystic gives all your auras totem armor, which basically gives your one creature 1,000,000 lives. After you've built up Uril to a degree that is just unstoppable by conventional means, use fun cards like Sigarda to stop while sacrificing, Gisela to win the game in a single swing, Holy Mantle because unblockable is cool, and Sigil of the Empty Throne because hey, when you have Voltron, all you're really missing are 500 4/4 angels, right? Yeah, Uril is a nightmare, total nightmare. Originally, we were going to cover all the legendary creatures in one video, but that video was almost 20 minutes long and I got sleepy and wanted a nap. In all honesty, we just didn't want to do a 20-minute video, so you got to see the first half of the ridiculously weird legends of Alara Reborn and Conflux. So what do you think? Any legends you didn't know about before? Any that you play in Commander or want to play in Commander? I'd love to hear about your happy or angry stories about these cards. Some of them are pretty sweet. Be sure to look out for part 2, which will be full of heads. Yep, just lots and lots of heads. As always, thanks for watching and we'll see you next time. This video is brought to you in part by TCGplayer.com. Whenever we talk Commander, I get a hankering to buy some Commanders. If you enjoyed my little rant about Uril and want to try out the Voltron Menace, you can get a copy of him right now for $5. Only been printed once, super cheap considering his insane popularity. If you want a copy, I wouldn't waste any more time. Not a fan of the Robot Imitator. That's okay, me neither. Let's get our Sen Triplets on. One of the most popular commanders in the entire format, the ladies are $20 even right now. That might seem like a lot, but it's a mythic rare from a set printed longer than 5 years ago. If the triplets are calling your name, answer. Hope you enjoy.